right, welcome back. This is going to be part 101 of my presentation on dinosaurs and man. And in the last video, we started looking at other areas in the world where human fossil footprints were found and comparing them to some of the footprints that were found at the Paluxy River. And so, because one of the arguments that people will say, even to me, and I've heard in videos and stuff like that, where people will say, I just don't see it. There's nothing there. The creation are making something more out of what's there. They've carved the prints. I mean, the accusations go on and on and on, and the debates. And so, but what we're doing is we're looking at other footprints around the world and comparing them to these other footprints and what they're saying that are human footprints. And I'm not denying what they're finding, but what I'm saying is we're comparing those to the ones at the Paluxy River, and so in Glen Rose, Texas. And so, but if you notice on the screen here, this right here came from National Geographic. I actually found this magazine here. This is one of my prized possessions in my library, but I found this in a thrift store when my wife and I were taking a trip to Mount Airy, North Carolina, and so the home place of Andy Griffith, and so of the Andy Griffith Show, and so but really nice place. It's one of our favorite locations to take our motorhome at. But there is an article in here called "Footprints in the Ashes of Time" by Dr. Mary D. Leakey. And so, again, there, if you want the information there, it's National Geographic Volume 155, number 4. And this is from April 1979. I was 8 years old when this came out. That's just a little bit of side information there. And so, but Dr. Mary Leakey reported in this article our serious survey of the beds which lie in northern Tanzania, 30 miles by road south of Olduvai Gorge, began in 1975 and gained intensity last summer after the discovery of some startling footprints. And so what she's looking at right here is one of those footprints. It's a series of footprints. It says, we have found hominid footprints. Now we're going to come back to that hominid in just a little bit. But we have found hominid footprints that are remarkably similar to those of modern man. And I want you guys to notice that. Remarkably similar to those of modern man. Prints that, in my opinion, could only have been left by an ancestor of man. Prints that were laid down an incredible 3,600,000 years ago. And there's the footprints right there, you guys. Fossilized. Now, when we're talking about hominid, what in the world is that? Well, that's not quite human, and that's not quite ape. And so you got the in taxonomy here. The scientific name is Homo sapiens. That's a scientific name for humans. Is Homo sapiens. You got the genus, which is always capitalized, and the species, which is not. So Homo sapiens. And so when you break it down for a human, you got the kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, and genus and species. And sometimes they'll add a few things here and there into this, but this is the basic thing that most of the time you're going to see. Well, if you'll notice that family, that Hominidae, that's your orangutans, gorillas, chimpanzees, bonobos, and you see humans in there. And so that's where they get that at. Now in evolutionary thinking, we branched off. If you'll notice that, it says a walk through human evolution. They say that we broke off from the chimpanzees about 6 million years ago. And I'm going to read exactly what they have. And this is from Time magazine in 2001. It says the newest fossils have brought scientists tantalizingly close to the time when humans first walked upright, splitting off from chimpanzees. Now get this, guys. I want you guys to really take note of what this last sentence says. Their best guess now is that it happened at least 6 million years ago. And so it's a guess, guys. It's a theory. Why? Because it didn't happen. And that's the reason. Now, It goes on to say in this article, footprint expert Dr. Louise Robbins of the University of North Carolina, Greensboro said they look to be so human, so modern to be found in tufts so old. Now, see, their evolutionary theory they just won't allow them to say, hey, these are human, these are totally human. It's because it's been found in tufts so old by evolutionary thinking. Now, they found other types of trails: guinea fowl tracks, millipede furrow, elephant trail. They found whistling thorn leaves. But these also all fall on into that study of echnofossil, trace fossils, where you would see there. I think that millipede furrow is kind of neat. But it goes on to say, trackers identified gazelles and other creatures almost, listen to this, guys, almost indistinguishable from present day inhabitants. But the saber-toothed cat and the clawed Chalithic, whatever, how you want to pronounce that. I got the pronunciation over to the right of it, but my southern accent just won't seem to let it out. Both now extinct roamed with them. And so notice what it says, guys. Trackers identified gazelles and other creatures almost indistinguishable from present-day inhabitants. And so there you go there. Now, the saber-toothed cat, this is what a saber-toothed cat looks like. And this is that one thing. Kalithkathir, they got to make it so hard. It's about as hard as to understand it is trying to have faith in the evolutionary theory. But they also found a giraffe that dragged its foot, a trait, look at this, guys, a trait still common among its descendants. So you'll notice that. Notice where that red line is, where a giraffe will kind of drag its back foot or drag its foot along the ground. They said that is still a trait that's common among its descendants now, after over 3.5 million years ago. And so why? Because it's not 3.5 million years ago. So it says Dr. Leakey also commented about the hominid walked fully upright, that the form of his foot was exactly the same as ours. You know what, guys? I really wonder if they reread what they said. And it would just kind of just hit them like a bong. But it said walked fully upright, and that the form of his foot was exactly the same as ours. I don't understand why they don't say, you know what, guys, maybe we need to get a new theory. But now in the picture that they showed in the article, it said the animals are seen as today's animals in this picture. There's nothing different. These are footprints that they found also with the human footprints, or the quote-unquote hominid footprints, but they draw them as if they're no different than today's. But look what they do for these creatures. Ape-like creatures. Notice the heads. They're still forming. They're still forming into a human. But all the other animals, they made them to look exactly like they are today. Now it says here, in examining the G trails representing 3 individuals described by Mary Leakey as possible family group, Dr. Louise M. Robbins, from a detailed report, found that the prints share many features that are characteristic of the human foot structure. The 4 functional regions, heel, arch, ball, and toes of the hominids' feet imprinted the ash in a typically human manner. The hominids walked across the ash surface in characteristic human bipedal fashion. Make no mistake about it, they are like modern human footprints. If one were left in the sand of a California beach today, and our 4-year-old were asked what it was, he would instantly say that somebody had walked there. He wouldn't be able to tell it from 100 other footprints on the beach, nor would you. The external morphology is the same. There is a well-shaped modern heel with a strong arch and a good ball of the foot in front of it. The big toe is in a straight line. It doesn't stick out to the side like an ape toe. Now, this is Tim D. White, paleoanthropologist and professor of integrative biology, University of California in Berkeley. This is what he said about those footprints. Now, I want you to look at these footprints here. The one to the left is the hominid footprint that was found by Mary Leakey. You can see the toe separation to the second toe, and it has that typical human foot to it. You can see where the ball of the foot is and the heel is. You can see where the toes met the ball of the foot over there to the left part of that. You can see that. Now, look at the Paluxy human footprint to the right there. This is a left footprint also. Notice the toe and the toe separation. Notice that toe separation, guys. It's the same. It's exact same thing. But you know what? They said they couldn't tell that was a human footprint, but they can tell this one over here is a human footprint. And I'm not doubting that was a human footprint. And to go a little bit further, they're actually saying, Dr. Mary Leakey is saying that an ape creature made that one to the left. So in a way, she's saying that that's not a human footprint, but she goes to contradict herself and say that the form and the shape of it is exactly like the form of ours today. Matter of fact, let's go back to that again. She says that the form of his foot was exactly the same as ours. So there you go. And but anyway, we'll stop right there. Another good example of what has been found in the world and compared to the Paluxy River. And so, again, if they would just get away from that evolutionary theory and that doctrine, I should say, some real good research could be done. And I will say this, a lot of my material that I get comes from secular research. They do good research, they just come to the wrong conclusion. And so, but at any rate, guys, we'll see you on the next video. I love you. Y'all have a great day. Bye-bye.